The starfield was quiet, but the ship was not. Inside the alien warship Black Spear, lights moved across cold metal walls. Screens showed maps, lines, and numbers. The crew spoke in low voices, like the dark space outside could hear them. Commander Riker stood with his hands behind his back. He watched a small blue world turn on the main screen. A human colony sat on its moon, bright and soft, like a lamp in a storm. A young officer stepped closer. Target confirmed, Commander. Human outpost. Low defense. High fuel stores. Riker did not smile, but his eyes did. Good, he said. Fast strike. Clean work. The officer hesitated. Sir, there is a warning on record. Riker turned his head a little. Say it. The officer swallowed. Old fleet rule. From the border wars. It says. Do not attack humans. Do not forget, they will hunt you across galaxies. A few crew members looked away. Others pretended they did not hear. Riker let out a short breath, almost a laugh. Stories for weak minds, he said. Humans are small. They fight like cornered animals. Then they break. He walked to the window port. Far ahead, the colony moon was growing larger. Today, he said, we teach them fear. Hours earlier, at a trade relay station, Riker had heard the same idea in a different voice. A neutral trader captain had met him in a quiet hall, where ships docked and left like insects. The trader's skin was pale and rough, his eyes tired. You are going to hit a human place, the trader had said. Riker had not denied it. It is business. The trader had leaned closer. Then remember one simple thing. Humans lose battles. But they win wars. Riker had replied with calm pride. Wars need fleets. Humans do not have fleets like ours. The trader had looked at him for a long moment. They build what they need, he said. And they do not stop. Now, in the present, Riker pushed that memory away like dust. Open the attack plan, he ordered. The Black Spear dropped from silent drift into strike speed. Smaller ships moved out like sharp teeth. The colony moon filled the screen. A thin shield grid showed weak points. Hit power first, Riker said. Then take fuel and supplies. Grab prisoners if they run. Leave them alive to spread the lesson. Yes, Commander. The first shots were silent in space, but the effects were not. On the moon, lights died across the colony in one long wave. Streets went dark. Warning sirens started late, like a throat trying to scream after a punch. Buildings shook. People ran. Some fell. Some helped others stand. In the human command center, Captain Mira Hale moved fast. She was not tall, and she did not look like a hero. She looked like a tired officer who had learned how to stay steady. Lock the shelter doors, she ordered. Get families underground. Medical teams to Sector 3. A soldier pointed at the main screen. Multiple alien landers. They are coming down near the fuel tanks. Myra's jaw tightened. They want our fuel, she said. They think we will beg. The next strike hit near the comm tower. The room shook. Dust fell from the ceiling. Mira grabbed a small black device from a drawer. It was a data box, built for one job, to keep truth safe when everything else burned. Record everything, she said to the tech officer. Every signal. Every ship mark. Every voice. Outside, alien troops moved with sharp order. They cut through doors. They placed stun nets. They dragged supplies onto floating pallets. They took prisoners fast, like workers loading cargo. From a broken hallway window, Mira saw an alien officer point at a group of humans. The officer spoke, calm and cruel. Then the prisoners were pushed toward a lander. Mira did not scream. She did not freeze. She watched. She counted. "Captain," a young medic said, voice shaking, "we can't hold them. They have better weapons." Mira looked at the underground map. She saw the old tunnels, built for mining. She saw a line that ran under the fuel tanks and reached the far ridge. "We are not holding," she said. "We are surviving." Another officer leaned in. "And then what?" Mira stared at the burning skyline. "Then we make sure they can be found." The comm tower was damaged, but one small emergency beacon still worked. It was weak. It would not reach far. But Mira knew something the aliens did not. Humans did not need a strong call. They only needed a real one. She carried the data box to the beacon room. The air smelled of smoke and hot wire. The beacon light blinked like a tired eye. The tech officer looked at the signal range and shook his head. "It won't reach Earth." Mira placed the box into the slot. "It doesn't have to," she said. "Just has to reach someone." He pressed the send key. A broken message jumped into the dark. "This is Colony Ardent," the beacon said in a rough human voice. "We are under attack. We have proof. We need help. Mark their jump trail." Mira stood still as the beacon repeated Mira stood still as the beacon repeated the message again and again, like a heart refusing to stop. Above, Commander Riker watched the colony fall into darkness. He felt satisfied. He imagined fear spreading ahead of his name. He did not notice the small signal that slipped past his net. Far away, on Earth, a quiet room lit up with a single alert. An old human admiral sat at a table, eyes on a new message. His face did not change. He read it once. Then he reached for a map of the stars and said only one line. "Track them." And in that moment, the hunt began. Earth did not panic. When the broken message from Colony Ardent reached the deep space net, it passed through 3 relay stations and a dozen automatic filters. Most of the system marked it as weak noise. But one small program did not. It was an old human routine built for one job: find the source, find the path, save the proof. In a quiet war room under the Earth Defense Command, Admiral Jonas Creed watched the message play again. The words were rough and cut, but the meaning was clear. Attack. Prisoners. Proof. Jump trail. Creed did not raise his voice. He did not hit the table. He only turned to the officers around him. "Do we have their jump signature?" he asked. A young analyst, Lieutenant Samir Knox, tapped his screen and swallowed. "We have fragments, sir. Not enough for a clean lock." Creed nodded once. "Then we do not chase blind," he said. "We chase smart." He pointed at the star map. "They jumped out fast. That means they used a standard route. They think we are slow. They think we will cry and rebuild." He looked at the room, calm as stone. "We will do something else." A captain beside him frowned. "Sir." Creed's voice stayed level. "We will hunt their stomach, not their teeth. Fuel. Parts. Food. Safe docks. Friends." The room became silent. Then Creed added one more line, simple and sharp. "Take away what keeps them moving." Within hours, the Hunter Task Force was formed. It was not a grand fleet. It did not look like a parade. It looked like a group built for dirty work. There were 2 old destroyers, one fast scout ship, a converted cargo carrier full of drones, and a medical frigate. Their hulls were patched and painted dark. Their engines were tuned for long runs. On the side of the lead ship, someone had painted a small symbol, a narrow line shaped like a spear tip. The crew called the group Task Force Hound. Captain Elena Marr stood on the bridge of the lead destroyer, HES Silent River. She watched the stars slide by and listened to the reports. "Any word from Ardent?" she asked. A calm officer shook his head. "No direct link. The beacon is too weak now." Elena's eyes hardened. "Then we get there late," she said. "But we get there." Lieutenant Samir appeared on the main screen from the analysis bay. He looked tired already, like he had not slept. "We have something," he said. Elena leaned forward. "Talk." Samir pointed at a set of thin lines on a black display. "Alien jumps leave a pattern. Not like ours. Their drive bends space in a different way." He zoomed in. After a jump, the area stays, bruised. A small distortion. Most sensors call it noise. Elena narrowed her eyes. "And you don't?" Samir gave a tight smile. "No. If you know what to look for, it's like footprints in dust." He tapped again. 3 faint marks appeared, spaced across a line of stars. "They went this way," Samir said. "Not straight. They are using safe stones. Places where smugglers refuel." Elena turned to her navigator. "Plot it," she ordered. "We will not catch their main ship today. But we can catch what feeds it." Task Force Hound moved. They arrived at Colony Ardent 2 days later. The moon looked wounded. The colony lights were gone. Smoke still rose in thin lines from broken domes. Small rescue fires blinked in the dark like weak candles. Elena walked through the main shelter with a rescue team. Human faces stared back at her, dirty, scared, but awake. A medic ran past with blood on his sleeves. Children held each other in silence. Old people sat with blank eyes. In the command bunker, Captain Mira Hale stood at a table covered in maps. Her left arm was wrapped in a quick bandage. Her hair was tied back with a strip of cloth. When she saw Elena, Mira did not salute first. She pointed at a case on the table. "That is the data box," Mira said. "Every ship mark. Every voice print. Every time stamp." Elena's throat tightened. "You kept it safe." Myra's eyes were tired, but hard. "They took my people," she said. "I kept the truth." Elena nodded. "We will bring them back," she said. Mira did not answer with hope. She answered with a plan. "They hit the fuel tanks," Mira said, tapping the map. "They came in confident. Like they did this before." Elena looked at Samir, who had joined them. "Can we match the ship marks to the jump trail?" Samir plugged the box into a reader. Lines of code and alien symbols filled the screen. His face changed. "Yes," he said quietly. "We can." He pointed at one symbol, repeated in the logs. "This ship, Black Spear. Their drive signature is strong. Like a fingerprint." Myra's voice dropped. "Then find it." Task Force Hound did not chase the Black Spear directly. They followed the trail to a place that did not show on clean maps. A quiet rock belt. A dead star. And between the stones, a hidden station made of dark metal and stolen parts. Samir whispered from his seat. "Smuggler depot," he said. "Lots of fuel tanks. Lots of spare coils." Elena watched the screen. Smaller alien ships moved around it like ants. Cargo pods drifted. Defense guns sat cold and ready. A weapons officer asked, "Do we hit the station?" Elena shook her head. "Not a full fight," she said. "Not today." She looked at the drone carrier on the tactical screen. "We do it the human way." The carrier opened its bays. Dozens of small drones slipped out, quiet, flat, and almost invisible. They were not built to win a battle. They were built to ruin a schedule. The drones drifted toward the depot like dust. One landed on a fuel pipe and cut a thin line. Another placed a small charge near a power relay. A third hid inside a cargo pod and started copying data. Then Elena gave the order. Now. The charges did not explode like fireballs. They snapped power in clean cuts. Lights died. The depot defense guns froze mid-turn. Fuel pumps stopped. A human boarding team launched in 2 small shuttles, fast and low. Inside the depot, aliens ran, confused. They looked for a big enemy. They expected loud ships and loud guns. Instead, they found humans in dark suits moving like shadows. The humans did not shoot at random. They shot cameras. They shot doors. They shot engine controls. They took fuel codes, route logs, and prisoner lists. In 3 minutes, it was done. The humans left the depot alive, but crippled. As Task Force Hound pulled away, the depot's emergency lights blinked weak red. The station did not burn. It simply stopped working. Elena watched it shrink on the screen. "Let them tell the story," she said. Hours later, deep in the Black Spear's command deck, Commander Riker received the report. A shaken supply officer stood before him. "Depot 9 is down, Commander. Power cut. Fuel lost. Logs stolen." Riker's eyes narrowed. "Pirates?" The officer hesitated. "No, sir. The survivors say, humans." Riker stayed still for a long second. Then his jaw tightened, slow and angry. "Impossible," he said. "They have no reach. No map." The officer swallowed. "They did not fight us head-on. They hit our supply and left." Riker's fingers curled around the edge of his chair. His voice sharpened. "Find their ships." The officer's voice dropped. "We can't." They were quiet. Like ghosts. Riker stood, and for the first time, his confidence cracked, not like glass, but like a thin wall under pressure. He remembered the old fleet rule. Do not attack humans, they will hunt you. Riker forced his face to stay calm. He turned to his navigator. "Change route," he ordered. "Long jump. Far sector. No stations." "Yes, Commander." The Black Spear's engines began to charge. Riker stared at the star map and tried to feel safe again. "Let them chase," he muttered. "They will get tired." But far behind him, in the dark, a human drone floated near the edge of the jump corridor. It was small. It had no weapons. It only watched. Its sensor eye blinked once, and it sent a simple burst message back to Task Force Hound. Jump signature confirmed. Trail locked. On the bridge of the silent river, Elena read the message and spoke in a low voice. "He thinks he can hide," she said. Then she gave the order that turned a chase into a promise. "Follow him." And the stars opened ahead. Commander Riker pushed the Black Spear into a hard jump that most fleets avoided. He did not choose the safest path. He chose the path that had the least eyes. The sector ahead was known by many names: Dead Drift, Shatter Space, the Cold Line. It was a place where stars were far apart and signals died fast. Smugglers used it when they wanted to vanish. Refuge ships used it when they had no other choice. Riker believed one thing. If the humans were truly weak, this sector would break them. On the bridge, his navigator spoke carefully. "Long jump complete in 12 minutes, Commander." Riker stared at the map. "No stops," he said. "No trade stations. No lights. We cross, and we rebuild on the far side." A supply officer stepped forward, tense. "Commander, our depot network is failing." 2 stations went dark. One was emptied. Riker's eyes turned sharp. Say the word. The officer lowered his head. Humans. Riker's jaw tightened. He did not shout. He did not show fear. But his crew felt it anyway, like cold air. They are behind us, he said. But behind is not danger. Behind is history. He turned away, as if the problem was already solved. We go farther. Far behind him, Task Force Hound did not cheer. They did not celebrate the stolen logs. They treated each new piece of data like a step on a long staircase. Captain Elena Marr watched the black spear's trail on the main screen. It was faint, but real. Lieutenant Samir Knox rubbed his eyes and pointed at the line. He's going into dead drift, Samir said. No stations. No clean routes. It's not just far, it's messy. Mira Hale stood near the holotable, her bandaged arm resting at her side. She looked at the line like she wanted to grab it with her hands. He's trying to make us give up, she said. Elena stayed calm. He does not know us, she answered. A weapons officer crossed his arms. We can follow the same route. Slow and careful. Samir shook his head. If we follow the same route, we will lose time. And time is prisoners. That word hung in the air, prisoners. Myra's eyes did not move. They took families, she said. Not soldiers. Elena looked at the fleet list. 2 old destroyers. A scout. A drone carrier. A medical ship. Not built for deep chaos. How do we keep up? Elena asked. Samir hesitated, then tapped the screen and brought up a new file. The depot we hit, he said. We took something else. He opened an image, a coil made from dark metal, marked with alien symbols. Alien jump core part, Samir said. Not a full drive. But it can change our range. The engineer on duty frowned. That part is not made for human power flow. Samir nodded. I know. But if we do not change, we lose him. Elena looked at the coil on the screen. Can you make it work? The engineer breathed out slowly. We can try. It will not be pretty. Elena's voice stayed simple. Pretty is not the mission, she said. Do it. For the next day, the human ships became workshops. Engineers worked in tight engine rooms with hot gloves and tired eyes. They cut metal. They rewired lines. They argued, then agreed, then argued again. Samir slept in short breaks, his head on a desk. Mira helped where she could, checking prisoner lists, matching names, keeping the crew focused. On the drone carrier, a technician asked Mira, "Do you think we can really catch them out there?" Myra's answer was quiet. Humans crossed oceans with wood, she said. This is just a bigger ocean. The technician stared at her. You really believe that? Mira did not smile. I know what they did to my people, she said. That is enough fuel. At last, the engineer came to Elena with a hard look. It's ready, he said. We linked the coil to a human stabilizer. It will give us a longer jump. Elena asked the question that mattered. What is the risk? The engineer answered honestly. Heat damage. Drive strain. If we push too hard, we might lose an engine. Elena looked at the star map again. Then she looked at Mira. Mira did not beg. She did not cry. She only said, please. Elena nodded once. We jump, she said. Task Force Hound powered up the modified drive. The ships vibrated. Lights flickered for 1 second. Then space folded, and the fleet cut forward like a needle through cloth. The jump ended in darkness. Not empty darkness, heavy darkness. Dead drift did not look like normal space. It looked bruised. Thin clouds of dust moved like smoke. Small rocks spun slowly, hidden until they were close. Static noise filled the sensors. Samir's voice came over comms, tight and focused. "We're in. Sensors are weak. Keep spacing." On the lead ship, Elena watched the distance markers. One small mistake could turn two ships into scrap. Then the scout ship sent a warning. "Contact," the scout captain said. "Not Black Spear. A station." A station appeared on the screen, old, patched, and tired. It floated near a dead rock, its lights dim but alive. A neutral trade beacon blinked slowly, like it did not want attention. "Should we stop?" an officer asked. Elena thought fast. A station meant supplies. It also meant danger. If the aliens had been here, the station could be hostile, or already threatened. Mira stepped closer. "If that station is hurt," she said, "we help them. If we help them, they talk." Elena nodded. "Bring us in slow," she ordered. No weapons aimed. The station's dock master appeared on screen. His face was long and gray, eyes cautious. "You are human warships," he said. "This is not a war station." Elena kept her voice steady. "We are chasing raiders," she said. "We do not want your station. We want one ship." The dock master hesitated. "The Black Spear came through yesterday. They took fuel. They left threats." Myra's hands tightened. "Did they leave prisoners here?" "No," the dock master said. "But they said humans are monsters. They said humans will burn anything in the way." Elena leaned forward. "We will not," she said. "We pay for fuel. We fix what they broke. And we leave." The dock master stared at her like he was testing a story. Then he gave a slow nod. "Doc," he said. "But keep your promise." Humans sent repair drones first. They sealed a cracked airlock. They restored a damaged antenna. They gave the station a small battery pack from their own stores. The dock master watched it all in silence. Later, he spoke again, quieter now. "Why chase so far?" he asked. Mira answered from beside Elena, her voice calm and simple. "Because if we let them run," she said, "they will do it again. To someone else." The dock master lowered his eyes. "Their route," he said. "They head to the far rim. There is a gate point, Karth Gate. Old military relay. Hidden in dust." Samir's fingers moved fast. "Karth Gate, yes. It is a jump anchor. If they reach it, they can jump farther than us." Elena did not hesitate. "Then we don't let them reach it," she said. Before leaving, Elena sent a short open broadcast, clear and calm, not angry. "To all stations in Dead Drift," she said. "We are human forces hunting raiders. Stay clear. We will not harm civilians. If you shelter the raiders, you become part of their crime." The message was not a threat. It was a rule. And rules, in space, mattered. Riker reached Karth Gate with less fuel than he wanted and more fear than he showed. The relay station was hidden in dust clouds and broken rock. It was old alien work, built for war, meant to be silent. Riker walked the command deck, listening to his officers. "Our crew is tired," one said. "Supply is low. 2 escort ships are missing," another said. "They did not arrive." Riker's eyes narrowed. "They were delayed," he said, but his voice was not sure anymore. A sensor officer spoke next, voice shaking. "Commander, we picked up a small object near our last corridor. It was watching us." Riker froze for half a second. "A mine?" "No," the officer said. "A drone. Human-made." The bridge went quiet. Riker felt the old warning rise again in his mind, clearer now, like it was carved into bone. They will hunt you. He forced his hands to stay still. Prepare the gate jump, he said. Now. The station began to wake. Old lights turned on. A deep hum filled the space around it. Then the sensor officer's voice returned, louder, sharp with panic. Commander. New contacts. Multiple ships. Riker stepped to the main screen. He expected to see nothing. He expected to see safety. Instead, the screen filled with shapes, human ships, dark hulls, quiet engines, appearing not ahead, but behind him, sliding out of the dust like they had always been there. Elena Mars' fleet did not arrive with a roar. It arrived with certainty. A single human message came through, open channel, simple words. Black Spear, Elena said. Engines down. Return the prisoners. Surrender, and you live. Riker stared at the human ships in silence. For the first time, he understood the full meaning of the rule. It was not about anger. It was about reach. And the humans had reached him. The gate behind him hummed louder, but it was too late to feel safe. Because the hunters were already here. The Karth gate hummed like a sleeping beast waking up. Old rings of metal glowed in a dull blue. Dust clouds moved around it in slow waves. The sound could not be heard in space, but every ship's sensors felt it. Commander Riker stood on the bridge of the Black Spear and watched the human fleet on his screen. They did not rush in. They held position. Like they had time. Like they owned the moment. Captain Elena Mars' message still sat on the open channel. Engines down. Return the prisoners. Surrender, and you live. Riker's officers waited for his order. Some looked angry. Some looked scared. No one looked confident anymore. Riker lifted his chin. They are bluffing, he said, but even he could hear the weakness in his own voice. A sensor officer spoke fast. Commander, they are locking weapons. But not on our hull. They are locking on our engines. And the gate controls. Riker's eyes narrowed. They want to cage us, he said. A weapons chief hissed, let us fire first. Riker stared at the human ships again. 2 old destroyers, a drone carrier, a scout, and a medical frigate. Not a large fleet. But the way they sat in space made them feel larger than they were. Riker made his choice. Charge the gate, he ordered. Full power. We jump through and vanish. The navigator hesitated. Commander, the gate is old. If we push too hard. Do it, Riker snapped. Power surged. The Karth gate glowed brighter. Riker opened the comm channel to the humans, his voice cold. Human captain, he said, move aside. You cannot stop a gate jump. Elena's reply came calm and flat. We are not here to stop the gate, she said. We are here to stop you. Riker's eyes flicked to his sensor officer. Fire, he said. The Black Spear launched the first shots. Bright lines flashed across space. But the humans did not answer with panic. They answered with control. The drone carrier opened its bays. A cloud of small drones poured out like dark snow. They spread wide, not toward the Black Spear's weapons, but toward its sensor lines and comm beams. On the silent river, Elena spoke with simple orders. Jam their eyes. Cut their voice. Disable the escorts. Her weapons officer nodded. Aiming for engines only. The first human shots hit the Black Spear's side engines. Not enough to tear the ship apart. Enough to make it limp. Warning lights jumped across Riker's bridge. Port drive losing thrust, an officer shouted. Riker slammed his fist into the armrest. Keep the gate charge, he yelled. We only need one jump. The gate hum grew louder on the sensors. Then a second human volley struck, clean, sharp, and the Black Spear's main drive stuttered. Riker felt it in his bones, like a giant hand had grabbed his ship and held it back. "Commander," the navigator said, voice tight, "our drive coil is overheating. The human shots are hitting our stabilizers." Riker's mouth went dry. "Then burn it," he said. "Burn it and jump." A crew member whispered, almost to himself, "They're not trying to kill us." Riker heard it. That made it worse. Because it meant the humans were choosing what happened next. On the human side, Mira Hale watched the battle from the medical frigate's command link. Her hands were still. Her face was hard. Samir's voice came over the channel. "Picking up a second ship near the gate," he said. "Hidden in the dust. Small power. No weapons." Elena's eyes sharpened. "Show me." A weak shape appeared on screen, an attached barge, half covered with dust panels and signal cloth. It was not built for war. It was built to carry bodies. Myra's voice dropped. "That's them," she said. "That's the prison ship." Elena did not hesitate. "Boarding team," she ordered. "New target, prison barge. Protect it. Take it intact." A human shuttle launched at once, flying low through drifting dust. Drones moved ahead of it, cutting mines and scanning for traps. The shuttle's team leader, Sergeant Voss, spoke into his mic. "We're going in quiet," he said. "No hero moves. We bring people home." Riker saw the human shuttle break away. His chest tightened. "They found it," he muttered. The prison barge was his insurance. His threat. His prize. Now it was a weakness. "Detach the barge," he ordered. "Send it through the gate." The officer at controls shook his head. "Commander, the coupling is damaged. Human fire cut the lock." Riker's eyes widened. "Then vent it," he hissed. "If we cannot keep it, no one can take it." A silence fell on the bridge. Even his own crew flinched. One officer spoke, careful but firm. "Commander, those are civilians." Riker stared at him like he was a stranger. "They are leverage," Riker said. "Nothing more." He turned back to the controls. "Do it." Before the officer could move, the ship shook again. A hard hit the Black Spear's rear section. Lights flashed. The bridge screens flickered. "Boarding alarm," someone shouted. Riker spun. On a side monitor, human cutting tools burned through an access hatch. Shapes in dark suits poured inside like a tide. The humans moved fast. They did not shoot wildly. They aimed at joints, at power nodes, at doors. Riker's security teams rushed to meet them. The first clash happened in a corridor near the engine room. Alien guards fired bright bursts. Humans dropped behind cover, rolled smoke, and fired back, short, controlled shots. 2 aliens fell. 1 human fell. But the humans kept moving forward, step by step, like they were counting distance. At the same time, Sergeant Voss's shuttle latched onto the prison barge. Voss cut the hatch. Inside, the air smelled of metal and fear. Cages lined the walls. Human faces looked out, dirty, tired, but alive. Some held each other. Some stared with empty eyes. A young girl in a torn jacket whispered, "Are you real?" Voss lowered his weapon and lifted both hands, open palms. "We're real," he said. "We're taking you home." His team moved down the rows, opening locks, checking injuries, handing out water packs. One prisoner grabbed Voss's sleeve. "They said no one was coming," the man said. Voss shook his head once. "They don't know humans," he answered. On the Black Spear Bridge, Riker tried to regain control. He opened the comm channel again, voice sharp. "Human captain. Call off your boarders. You will not take my ship." Elena's reply was cold and simple. It was never your ship, she said. It was stolen power on stolen fuel. Riker's lips curled. Then you will destroy it? Elena paused for half a second. Then she said, no. Riker blinked. Why not? Because we don't need to, Elena said. We only need to stop you. Riker's hands shook, just a little. He looked at the Karth gate glowing bright, still charging. He realized something terrible. The humans were not afraid of time. They were not afraid of distance. They were not even afraid of the gate. They were simply committed. Minutes later, the black spear's bridge doors blew inward. Human boarders entered in a tight line. At their front was Elena Marr, helmet on, rifle low, eyes clear. Behind her came Mira Hale. Myra's arm was still bandaged, but she walked like steel. Riker stood tall to hide the fact that his legs wanted to step back. Elena spoke first. Your weapons are locked, she said. Your engines are down. Your barge is secured. Riker's voice turned bitter. You crossed dead drift for this? Mira stepped forward. She looked at him with no hatred, only a hard truth. You didn't just attack a colony, she said. You made a decision. Riker tried to smile. And you made yours. Mira nodded once. Yes, she said. We follow. Riker's face tightened. Across galaxies? Elena answered instead of Mira. Across anything, she said. Riker looked away, and for the first time he seemed old. Then kill me, he said. Elena shook her head. No, she replied. You will stand trial. You will be seen. The galaxy will learn. Riker's eyes flashed. You think this will stop others? Myra's voice was quiet, but it filled the room. It will, she said. Because they will know the rule. The prisoners were moved onto the medical frigate first. Doctors worked in rows. Water, blankets, warm lights. Names were checked. Families were matched. A small boy cried when he saw his mother. Elena watched it from the corridor, her face still calm, but her eyes tired. Samir came up beside her. The gate is still hot, he said. What do we do with it? Elena looked at the old glowing rings. We shut it down, she said. Then we fix what we can. We leave the station better than we found it. Samir blinked. After all this, we repair. Elena's voice stayed simple. That is how you prove you are not a monster, she said. You keep your rules even when you are angry. Before Task Force Hound left Dead Drift, Elena sent one final open broadcast. It was short, clear, and carried on every relay that would listen. Let it be known, she said. Humans do not hunt for fun. Humans do not burn worlds to feel strong. A pause. But if you take our people, if you strike our home, we will follow you. Another pause. Across stars. Across gates. Across galaxies. On dozens of hidden stations and neutral ships, listeners stayed silent as the message spread. And somewhere, far away, new commanders heard the warning and felt something they did not like. Not fear of human weapons. Fear of human memory. Because now the galaxy understood the real lesson. Humans could forgive. But once the hunt began, humans did not stop.